Halfway around the globe, in the country of Malawi, you will find a nation that knows the term struggle all too well. This small landlocked nation in southern Africa is one of the poorest and underdeveloped countries in the world. Most of us realize that our privileges come with a responsibility, that we all have been given the tools necessary to help those in need, but often we don't know where to begin. This is where the Chisomo idea comes in, calling you and I not only to responsibility, but also to action. In 2007, we started working on a kids' project in a little African village called Kunjana in the country of Malawi. The dreams and courage of those kids inspired us to dream bigger. Today, those dreams have sparked a full-blown African-born movement called the Chisomo idea, a movement that connects the young and young at heart to issues of poverty in Africa and providing them with a framework for action. In Malawi, we have 3 initiatives that are well underway. First, our children's centers. Through health education, sports and recreation, and of course academic and spiritual development, we want to provide village children with hope and essential training for the future. Everything rises and falls on leadership. If we are to make any significant impact, we must focus on equipping and empowering the people. We want to provide the Malawian youth with necessary leadership skills so they can help shape the future of their nation. We have discovered that when one of your dreams becomes a reality, more dreams seem possible. The Chisomo idea continues to foster the dreams of young athletes who aspire to do something with their talent. Our 3 mini sports academies along the outskirts of Lilongwe provide training with experienced athletes for youth between the ages of 14 and 17. In their training, these young athletes are in turn inspired to give back to their communities. In all, we have seen incredible impact in the lives of people in Malawi as communities have come together to creatively use their time, talent, influence, and finances to serve others. As our movement has spread throughout Malawi and across the globe, we have continued to believe in the power of the dreams of young villagers and the ability of those small, seemingly mundane dreams to change the world, and that they will interrupt your lives, that they will draw you in to find and redefine your own dreams in serving others.
Oh, I wanna live until I die. Don't let the devil bury me alive. When my heart stops, let me go home. Don't let the suburbs kill my heart and soul. My heart and soul. My heart and soul.
Hello. Well, I am African, which typically which also means that I have probably one of the thickest accents up on stage this weekend, which typically means that you may only get to understand half of what I say, and those are the overachievers. So now that we have laid expectations, and expectations are clear, you don't have to, it's okay. Understand half. If you want to understand a little bit more, my wife is here, she's American, she can interpret for me, and so we'll work out that whole deal. But you see, I believe that authentic and sustainable life change begins and thrives in simple processes. See, one of the key projects that we run in Malawi is our Soccer and Life Economics Academy, which is a fancy way of saying we got tired of hearing our government make promises to our little brothers and sisters that we decided that we would take matters in our own hands, that we would begin to pull the future into the present for their sake. Because we understood, as they say, that whoever tells the best story gets to shape the culture. So dirt fields, soccer balls that have been ruptured so many times and been fixed by hand, it doesn't matter. All we knew is that when we began to look at our brothers and sisters and said, their stories have to be different from our own. We look at the odds that they faced against issues of poverty. We look at the odds that they faced against disease. We look at the odds that they faced against gang violence, and we say their stories have to be different. And so we began to harness and unleash the only commodities we had: friendships, resilience, and hope. See, there are three very simple things that have guided our journey. The first is remembering the past. And the second is rejoicing in the present. And the third and last is reimagining the future together. And as I tell my friends in Malawi, I said, you know what, we have to do this locally. There's always going to be visionaries, like we just saw with Jordan come up. Very inspiring young people from the West. And I tell my friends, I was like, they are going to do whatever it takes to make sure that these things look different here. But how about us as local Africans? What role do we get to play? So remembering the past. Yes, we have dreams of the future. Yes, we are driven by the mental picture of what could be and what should be. Yes, we understand that the human soul needs hope, almost in much the same way as our bodies need water and breath. It is essential to who we are and to who we are becoming. But in a world that continues to value youth and newness, and sometimes to the detriment, sometimes at the expense of the wisdom of our fathers and our forefathers, we want to be men and women that advocate, that speak on behalf of all essential tradition, all helpful tradition. And not only that, we want to remember the past in that we want people to embrace their stories. You see, our own personal stories, our own personal experiences, whether joyful or tragic, can inform our magnetic north, can inform who we become. So I tell my friends, I tell the kids we work with in Malawi, no excuses. We don't get to give excuses. Embrace your story. What has happened has happened. Now let's begin to look into the future. Remember the past. And second, rejoice in the present. See, visionaries can often be very miserable people. And I know that because to a mild extent, I am one. But a lot of the times, what we do is, as men and women, we have our own ideas of what things should be in the community, what community should look like. And as they say, that the people that are obsessed with their own ideas of community often destroy community trying to pursue their ideas. So from the very beginning, part of our journey has been contentment. Living simply, understanding contentment. Because contentment bleeds pure and authentic joy. And there's no vision compelling enough to rob us of our joy. So we have to count our blessings. We have to name them one by one. Even sometimes in tough circumstances. I remember getting a phone call after we had just started this about 5 years ago. I remember getting a phone call from someone saying, at the children's center that we started, that we have kids, 100 kids that come, because what happens is our centers, they become feeding centers in crisis time. And they become learning centers in times when crisis is kind of like past a little bit. And so we're kind of like, we're always fluid in who we are and who we become. But I remember getting, in a crisis situation, getting a message from someone saying, oh yeah, we've had 100 kids that are coming over and they're getting fed at the center. And then we have 100 other kids that are standing around them watching because we can't feed those. That's a problem. And they said, Noel, we got to do something. So I was looking at my wife and we were talking like, what are we going to do? I mean, we are completely squeezed. In fact, we had said we had nothing, zero in our savings account. Because anything we had, we said, we made a commitment that we are not going to worry about our monthly bread when our brothers and sisters are worried about their daily bread. And so that day we looked at each other and we said, what are we going to do? And we decided, you know what? But we live in a 2-bedroom apartment. If we move into a 1-bedroom apartment, we can squeeze $100. And that could go a long way. And as is the tradition in the Musicha family, a lot of the times when we're making decisions that are good and good, like rock, shambo, rock, paper, scissors, we'll do it. So we just rock, paper, scissors. Good, we're moving. So we pick up and we move into not only a small apartment, which then eventually led to us moving into a neighborhood that we wouldn't typically live in. Moved into a tougher neighborhood because it's cheaper for us to live there. And what that did is that it allowed us the opportunity to actually mentor the kids from that apartment. Boys that are fatherless, girls that are fatherless. It's given us the opportunity to do that. And so every day, even in the midst of that, we have to count our blessings. We have to name them one by one. So remember the past. Rejoice in the present. You know, Mother Teresa said that in this world, and this bothers me as a visionary a little bit, but I agree with it so much. She always used to say that in this world we cannot do great things, but we can only do small things in great love. And we want that to be a part of our journey and a part of our story. So then lastly, reimagine the future. And this one can get a little touchy because it really involves our worth and resources. You see, I believe what was said here yesterday. I believe it wholeheartedly that this world it possesses enough for everyone's need, that it does. That success in matters of life and well-being cannot be and should not be a zero-sum game. There is room for all of us to thrive. But unfortunately, as one lady quoted yesterday, that beautiful quote from Gandhi, the world possesses enough for everyone's need, but unfortunately it doesn't have enough for everyone's greed. So we have to reimagine our resources to create a more fair and a more generous economic environment. In some cases, for us, necessity has been a great teacher. You know, there are kids that when we, at our soccer academy, we're playing, and some of them, we just see them around in the morning. We're like, what? Your friends are in school. And they don't want to ask for too much, so they won't tell us why they're not in school. But every once in a while, a friend will come around and say, yeah, it's because you haven't seen his home. No one at this house can afford school fees. All right? So we get together with a few of our friends locally, and we say, you know what that means, right? It means we have to chip in a little bit more, all of us, so that that kid can end up in school. So you will hear or you see on our website, you know, Scholar Athlete Fund or Scholar Athlete Program. You think, oh, that's a really fancy way, or like a really fancy thing. It actually really isn't. It just means us chipping in to make sure that we do what is necessary. And we have mothers of those kids that are part of that program, that are part of the Scholar Athlete Program, that are in crisis after crisis after crisis many times, and that is economical. So we get together and say, all right, I guess we start a business for her. So you will hear microloans, and you're going to get confused, but it really is us chipping in, providing for that mother to start a business alone, and hoping that she will pay us back. And not only hoping, because when it's our own money that we give out, then we are committed to making sure that she learns how to do business. So we can get our money back, because we got to. We have to reimagine the future. And, you know, this last year, I got 2 phone calls within 1 month where someone said, yeah, we just lost Toko. What? What do you mean? Oh, we lost Toko. You need to call right away. And I called in. We lost a kid to malaria. Within the same month, another phone call where we lost Mwai. What? We got to do something. And so now we're talking about a medical fund, you know. We're talking about things. I'm just looking through things, not as a reaction to things, but how can we prevent that kind of stuff from happening? We have to reimagine. We have to reimagine our economic future. And so as I finish, I would like to dare you to remember your own past as you think through the things that you're involved in. I would like to dare you to rejoice in the present. And I would like to dare you to reimagine a future that is genuinely generous. A future that is genuinely generous. Because it is really going to take all of us. And I'd like to dare you to find and to redefine your philosophical, your intellectual, and even your artistic future in serving others. It is going to take all of us. And so I'm going to finish. But before I do, I want to do this real quick. Maybe you guys have done this before, so palm out. If you're holding on to anything, you might want to put it down for a second. Just work with me. So palm out. Right? You're going to just use one finger. Just clap on your hand with one finger. See, when one person decides that they want to do something, that can happen. There could be some impact there, but it's mild. How about two? Two fingers. Just listen to that. It's a little bit more. How about 3 fingers? A little bit more, right? How about 4? How about a hand? I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your round of applause. Thank you.